We grew up in the United States, so we feel like Americans because we grew up there, went to school, did everything. I miss my family, miss my little brother.
Recently I got a news from my grandma, she's sick, right? And imagine being in this country when I'm able to see her grand.
You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. Newsday has spent the last 3 years taking a close look at immigration and the impact it has had on Long Island. I'm joined by Newsday reporter David Olson and investigative producer Belisa Murillo, who has spent some time covering this topic. So David, I want to start with you. You spent more than a year with the man and his sons as they tried to navigate the immigration courts. What was that experience like, and what is going on with that family today?
So it's a real window into the immigration system and how it functions, and also what's been happening the last few years. Julio and his 2 sons arrived in New York in the freezing cold in January 2024 in Midtown Manhattan, sent from like many thousands of others on a bus from Texas. The next time I was with him a few weeks later was at an ICE, was to show up for an ICE hearing. Turned away because the line was just so massive. He had to return at like 4:30 the next morning. And then I followed him for the full year, and then to immigration court in November of 2024, where he was given a next court date of December 2027. Now that illustrates just how backlogged the immigration system is. So many people arriving and so many people requesting asylum like him. And so currently he's living in Midtown Manhattan still with his 2 sons in New York City provided housing, a hotel. Most migrants cannot live in hotels now, but because he's with his sons, he's allowed to stay there, and he's still looking for work as a welder, which is what he did in Ecuador.
It's a very interesting story. So let's take a look at Julio's story.
Far from the U.S. southern border, New York has become central to the story of migrants seeking citizenship and asylum. The immigration system is complex and convoluted, with confusing policies at the federal, state, and local level. Newsday spent a year following individuals to better understand who they are and illustrate an overwhelmed system that would become central to the presidential election.
¿Y su nombre?
Mi nombre es Julio César.
Julio César?
Sí.
Okay.
Julio César Zambrano.
Zambrano.
Esto para mí es algo que no puedo conseguir trabajo porque aquí solo le ponen a la gente criminalística. Entonces ahí me tuvieron prisionero como 6 días. Mis 2 hijos se me enfermaron con gripe. Usted sabe, solo de manzanas, jugos, tacos, así tuve que sobrevivir. Es muy duro, fue muy duro para mí.
Julio Zambrano and his 2 boys began their journey from Ecuador. It took 2 months for them to reach the Texas border, where Julio was detained for nearly a week. He says authorities installed this GPS ankle monitor. Julio left Texas on a bus to New Jersey and followed a group of other migrants to New York City's Roosevelt Hotel, an intake center where migrants go for temporary housing. Another migrant who has already obtained refugee status has made his way to Long Island and has been seeking permanent residency there.
Fernando, F-E-R-N-A-N-D-O.
¿Y tu apellido?
Alonso.
¿Y qué es eso?
El deseo de todo el mundo es estar en los Estados Unidos. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. Y aplicamos para la residencia. De la ropa de trabajo.
Fernando achieved refugee status through a nonprofit that helped him escape violence in Honduras. And now his wife and 2 children are working for their legal status to change. Migrants say persecution back home is the driving force for seeking asylum. Fernando, who was a businessman back in Honduras, says he was being extorted.
Nos habían ofrecido que nos iban a matar nuestros hijos, iban a matar a ella y bueno, a mí sí intentaron matarme. Fuimos sacados de nuestra casa.
Zambrano also sought to escape violence at home and decided to take his 2 sons with him to traverse the Darien Gap, a 60-mile hike from Colombia to Panama.
Entonces, no fue la manera para traerles a mis hijos porque pasé por Colombia, Panamá, la selva, fue lo más duro. Nos robaron en Guatemala, los policías. En Panamá, por ejemplo, vi muchas muertes, muchos robos.
In the same shelter as Julio, a single mother of 2 from Venezuela explains their journey to New York City.
No, bueno, ¿qué te puedo decir? No he dejado de llorar. Sí, porque es duro. Duramos 2 meses en llegar aquí y en esos 2 meses, pues, frío, calor, dormir en la calle, no tener que comer.
Lo que pasa es que hay como lomas y las lomas tienen una altura que es demasiado alta y había que bajarlas, o sea, para no pasar el río había que subirlas, pero las lomas se derrumbaban, piedras, yo me iba cayendo y nadie me dio la mano, me tuve que agarrar de una piedra yo misma. Iba sola y me agarré y ahí sí fue, pero la gente dice, no te puedo ayudar, tengo que seguir avanzando, así te dice.
Most migrants need to find employment once they arrive. Maria Baez sells candy in the subway while she works to find more stable work.
Según que se va, a veces con las propinas que me ayudan la gente por mi bebé.
Fernando's wife is also anxious to find a job on Long Island.
Nos han ayudado bastante y pues estuve bastante tiempo sin trabajo, 4 meses sin trabajo, a donde el programa donde nos estaba asistiendo nos decía busquen trabajo, pero para nosotros nos hacía bastante difícil por el idioma.
Actualmente mi trabajo es en landscaping. Yo necesito trabajar y ahora mismo no tengo un carro. En la mañana tomo bus a las 5:30 de la mañana. Tomo 2 buses. Uno que llega a Riverhead, voy para Southampton. Y llego a mi trabajo a las 7:10 más o menos.
Yo ya vomito.
Me voy a la audiencia, a la audiencia y es un mes.
On a cold morning, January 30th, Julio and his 2 sons walked to Federal Plaza in downtown Manhattan for their first immigration hearing. His paperwork says the appointment is at 11.
Tomorrow morning. All you gotta do, ICE is closed. Come tomorrow morning, early in the morning, like 45. Do you have a family? Okay, bring all your family. Come in around 6:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30. Come right here.
Despite the Zambranos arriving at their appointment a half hour early, the immigration office turned them away because ICE was overwhelmed with other cases.
He llegado, entonces que yo asistí para que vean que yo sí he ido a la audiencia. Eso, nada más que más podría decirle, nada más. Eso es en cuanto le puedo decir. Eso es acá.
The day Julio and his sons arrived, they were assigned to housing on Canal Street in Chinatown. 28 days later, they were moved to another hotel, this one in the Bronx.
Y entonces, para mí sí fue un poco de desilusión, porque la verdad yo quería estar por aquí mismo, por mis hijos.
Newsday has been documenting Julio's journey from his arrival in Manhattan on January 4th, 2024. He is hoping to establish a normal routine for his children, but has been moved from shelter to shelter.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
On the east end of Long Island, some migrants who fail to obtain legal status find work as day laborers while living in tent encampments off beaten paths in wooded areas.
Sí, encuentra uno trabajo, pero a veces no todos los días. A veces somos varios, lo van a uno tornando, ¿ves?
Que es unas cucharitas que tenemos aquí para cocinamos. O sea, para comer la comida que nos dan ahí en la iglesia. Bueno, limpiamos afuera, las casas son bonitas, casas de mármol que tienen por fuera. Son mansiones, sí. Sí, en East Hampton, Bridgehampton, por ahí también. San Harbor, casi 200, 300 pesos y le manda a mi familia.
After another 4 weeks, Julio is required to leave the Bronx and go back to the Roosevelt Hotel, where he'll be assigned new housing.
Entonces, ya, como usted comprenderá, vine acá a las 11 de la mañana y luego ya son ya las 5, 5 y cuarto de la tarde y sigo esperando.
According to New York City regulations, at the time, migrants had to reapply for housing every 28 days.
Entonces, eso es que yo, como no tengo a dónde llegar, no tengo a nadie, entonces yo sí le agradezco al Estado, al país de Estados Unidos, porque en mi país jamás va a haber esas ayudas.
Yo digo que nos ha ido bien, hemos estado bien de salud, no hemos tenido problemas de salud, eso ha sido muy bueno.
Primero vamos a abrir las cortinas para que entre el sol, para que esté clarito.
After briefly taking a job in Philadelphia, Julio returned to New York City. Julio returned to court November 13th, where a judge told him the U.S. government believes he does not have the right to stay. The judge complimented Julio for having his paperwork done properly, but then set his next court appearance for December 21st, 2027, 3 years away. This demonstrates the backlog of cases in immigration courts. Julio, though, was relieved that he'll have time to prepare his case.
Entonces la juez me supo manifestar eso, que mi siguiente visita va a ser en el año del 2027. De la noche a la mañana pueden cambiar todo este proceso, pero la juez me supo manifestar que esté tranquilo. Y es un alivio al saber que todavía no hay, o sea, exactamente deportaciones.
Despite New York City's sanctuary laws, the looming threat of deportation remains real, especially as a new presidential administration with hardline anti-illegal immigration policies will soon take office. Until then, no matter how complex or convoluted the journey has been, Julio and Fernando wait for their fate, while decisions on their legal status are left to the U.S. immigration system.
Es justicia y nosotros no sentimos que no estamos fallando al país de los Estados Unidos al estar aquí. Hemos venido de manera legal.
Ya, pues estoy aliviado que no tengo el grillete ya.
If Julio is deported, he will leave with no regrets.
Me iré con la cabeza en alto porque no he hecho nada de malo, no he venido a quitar nada a nadie. He venido mejor a lo contrario, a tratar de seguir adelante por mis hijos, ante la sociedad, ser alguien en la vida.
So all three of us actually went to El Salvador to meet with these brothers from Long Island that got deported. So Belisa, what is going on with those two young men today?
So you're talking about Jose and Josue. These are two brothers who lived here on Long Island. They went to school here, and they went to 26 Federal Plaza, where they were picked up and deported. We met them in December, 7 months into this ordeal in El Salvador. Mm-hmm. So now I spoke to them recently, and the latest is that Josue, the younger one, is working in a call center, a bilingual call center in San Salvador, mm-hmm. which is like 2 hours away from where they live. So he has to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get out at 5, and then it takes 2 hours to get there, and it's 2 hours to get back. So it's very different. Their lifestyle is very different from when they lived here. But their American dream is still on. They're still hoping to come back.
All right, well, let's take a look at their story. ICE just deported these two brothers from Long Island.
So Newsday got on a plane.
We have arrived in El Salvador.
And started banging on doors
Jose and Josue
in El Salvador, all to find out what happened. So, what happened? Well, we should probably start at the beginning. It's 2016. El Salvador is overrun with gang violence. And according to statistics, there is more than 5,000 murders per year. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 14 murders a day, or a murder roughly every 2 hours. It's really bad. So their mother decided to pack up her sons, who were then 10 and 11 years old, and flee to America.
Las escuelas no eran seguras ya para los hijos.
And where there's gangs, there's extortion.
Y también por la extorsión que yo tuve, que empezaron a pedirme cantidades de dinero grandes, que si yo no las tenía, pues ellos se iban a dirigir con mis hijos.
Now once here, she settled in Georgia and applied for asylum while the boys began their American upbringing. Jose joined Future Farmers of America with dreams of becoming a mechanic and preacher, since he went to church several times a week. And Josue joined JROTC with his sights on joining the Air Force to serve the United States. They were pursuing their American dreams. Fast forward to 2025, when everything changed. The brothers have now grown up. Jose 21 and Josue 20. And in the time in the United States, their mother gave birth to a third son, a son born with multiple disabilities. So what do the boys, now young men, do? Well, they decide to move to Central Islip, just those two, so they can find work and help pay bills for their mom and their disabled brother. And that's when things started unraveling. The boys show up to their ICE check-in, much like they've been doing since they've entered the country roughly 10 years ago. But this time, it's different. Times are different.
All ICE wants to do is get them out of our country.
Take off the mask. You feel so confident.
They gave us a paper that it said like that we have to show up to the 26 Federal Plaza like in the first 30 days, and we did it. When he was doing all the paperwork, he looked at me and he gave me my papers, and he was like, "Good luck." And I was like, "Dude, since I came to this country, I had ICE check-ins since 2016, and never an ICE officer had told me good luck. Never, never, never."
The brothers were then asked for their immigration documents.
He told us, "Hey guys, come. Well, you too, come with me." He was like, "You're gonna see, like right now, you're gonna see right here, that was me, and my brother was gonna see like where she is right now, right? It's like separated." And we were like, "Oh, maybe they're gonna like interview us, ask questions." When I sat down, they closed the curtain, and he told me, "Hey, you're now being detained, and you're going to be put in removal proceedings." And I hear the handcuff, and I was like, "Dude, there's no way that I'm about to get detained." And yeah, he told me get up, he put my hands on the back, and he detained me right there.
I saw my brother handcuffs. I was like, wait, what's going on? I look at him like, man, why?
Pues ese día cambió todo, cambió mi vida, cambió la vida de ellos.
The brothers were detained, and their deportation journey has now just begun. And as they were hauled away, they say an ICE agent told another ICE agent,
Thank you for taking these criminals away. Good job taking these criminals away."
While their mother, who was waiting with their youngest brother in the lobby, was told,
"Your sons are not bad people. If you want to get your sons out, get a lawyer as soon as possible."
The brothers were put in a holding room for nearly 10 hours.
Everything's made of metal, everything's gonna be cold. Just imagine just sitting there, just standing, just waiting, and just freezing.
Then they were put in a van and were sent off to the Buffalo Federal Detention Facility in Batavia. Now keep in mind, these two brothers have no criminal record, no criminal past. But where they're going, the other detainees, that's a different story.
If you have a criminal record, you're gonna have a orange uniform. But if you have like a felony or something that it's like really like strong, you're gonna get a red uniform. If you have a blue uniform, yeah, you have no criminal record.
The brothers stayed in Buffalo for 2 months, where they read their Bibles and helped translate English written documents to other inmates who did not speak the language. Then, it was time to go.
When you hear that they say processing, and they start calling names, it's scary, because processing can mean two things. One, you're getting deported, or two, you're getting out.
The brothers were deported to El Salvador, a country they have not seen since they were children, a country where they have zero family, and a country that has recently undergone a massive transformation. In 2019, El Salvador elected a new president, Nayib Bukele, a young politician with sights on cracking down on gangs and violence and making the country safer by any means necessary. He built a massive prison, the Terrorism Confinement Center, or CCOT. Some people call him a dictator, while others praise and love what he's done. However you feel, the country has become safer. No more dead bodies littering streets, far less gang activity, armed officials patrolling neighborhoods, and statistically, per capita, there are less homicides in El Salvador today than in the US. The brothers arrive in El Salvador and begin getting processed.
There it was hard for us because they were asking questions about where are you gonna stay? Who are you gonna live with? What's the name of your mother? What's the name of your father? I'm like, I don't know. Do you have any family members in the country? I'm like, no, I don't have any. And they were like, so they were thinking to not let us free because we didn't have anyone in here.
Weeks pass, and the brothers were able to secure a place to live on the outskirts of San Salvador, a location where locals say was once heavily occupied by gangs and violence.
Jose and Josue!
That's where they showed us their place.
If you haven't heard the little noises on the roof, those are cats. We fixed that pipe you see right there? Oh, I haven't told you, but I have some fishes in here.
So back home, when the brothers were first detained, their community banded together, holding vigils and demonstrations and donating to a GoFundMe to help with legal fees and necessities, money that they say is their lifeline but is running out.
Oh, you bought the actual stove?
Yeah, we bought
You guys didn't have a stove? No, we bought the stove, a microwave. We bought a coffee, water warmer.
So now that the brothers live alone, they actually have some rules. 1, never answer the door if someone comes knocking. 2, if the sun is up, you can go out. And 3, if you do go out, you have to travel in pairs. Never alone, even if it's down the street and around the corner to the store.
We grew up in the United States, so we feel like Americans because we grew up there, went to school, did everything. I miss my family, miss my little brother.
While in El Salvador, the two say they've missed out on major life events, like Josue, who watched his own high school graduation through a smartphone thousands of miles away.
The good thing is that you graduated, bro. You did it, man. I'm crying, man.
So as you can see, these brothers have a pretty tight bond, but family to them is more than just brothers. And in fact, they miss a lot of their family, especially one in particular.
Recently, I got a news from my grandma. She's sick, right? And imagine being in this country when not able to see your grandma.
Since living here, the brothers say they've been holding on to their American roots.
No.
Josue was able to get his gaming console shipped over and uses it to pass time and talk to his childhood friends.
Oh my.
Jose has begun streaming games to try and make money, and once a week, he holds a digital sermon so he can continue to practice his faith, using his Bible he and his brother received while in the detention center.
Estaré contigo donde quieras que vaya. I'll go be with you wherever you go. So yeah, I'm here. He's going to be with us.
Since they both speak Spanish and English, they're trying to find remote jobs at call centers. While back in the States, their immigration attorney continues to fight to get them home.
Unfortunately, it really is an uphill battle for them because they were removed before they could complete the process.
The hardest part, it's going through all of this after being separated from your family and knowing that now we are here in this country alone.
thousands of miles away, the two continue to share their story with U.S. activists.
They only see us as criminals, but in reality, we are not criminals. We are just normal people.
And they continue to live in fear.
Yes, some people are criminals, but look at me and my brother.
We got denied because now we're here in this country, not because we did something wrong in the U.S.
Todos los días práctico es de llorar. Subirme a mi carro, irme a trabajar, pedirle a Dios que les dé una oportunidad, que regresen, que me los cuide. O sea, prácticamente yo lloro todos los días por ellos.
The only thing you can do, stay strong and wait. We want to go back.
And thank you so much, Newsday reporter David Olson and Newsday investigator producer Belisa Murillo. I mean, obviously the work here that you're doing is important and is timely, so we appreciate you guys really keeping an eye on both these families and these stories for us. And of course, for more coverage like this, go to Newsday.com. I'm Ken Bufa. This is Newsday, covering Long Island like no one else can.